With the changing laws, it's an exciting time for cannabis in Canada. Yet with so many questions remaining, it's a confusing time for consumers and producers. In this series, we wade through the murky waters of legalization, talk to the experts, and weed out any uncertainty about Vancouver's most controversial plant. This is Vannabis 101.
Without the cannabis movement and cannabis growers out there, if we'd all followed the law over the years, the cannabis plant would be extinct by now, because the government's policy has been to make it extinct.
What is it about the Vancouver culture?
It marries an interesting few industries that Vancouver is known for, things like its craft industries and its tourism. And a lot of people will come to Vancouver because of hashtag BC Bud.
Where are you from, Santana?
From here, originally from Alberta.
That is a very big joint. How do you find the cannabis culture here versus Alberta?
It's an underground culture over there. It's an open scene here. It's much better, obviously.
Where are you from?
I grew up in Northern Ontario, but happy to be living in Vancouver. Vancouver, much more ingrained here, you know. You could tell folks have been doing it for a while. Whereas back in Ontario, I think we rely a lot on the success of the BC market to get the products into the province. Different demographics, different knowledge bases. I think both are beautiful. It seems like all of Canada is just embracing it.
We've seen a lot of the cannabis activist movement come out of Vancouver, especially over the last 30 years or so. Some of our most well-known activists came from other parts of the country to join in the cannabis movement in Vancouver. And I think that's given us a really strong and unique aspect to the cannabis culture here.
The best thing about it becoming legal is that people are being educated, and because it's been behind closed doors for so long.
It's called the Grasstown Police Riot, and this happened in 1971. During the late 60s and early 70s, there was a very rapidly growing cannabis culture. The mayor at the time was Tom Campbell. They called him Tom Terrific, and he was very anti-hippie and called them scum and degenerates. We don't want them in our city, and tried to push for a big crackdown. So the hippies and cannabis movement had a protest, and they sent police in on horseback to break up the crowd, attacking store owners. One had a pregnant woman being dragged by the hair down the street by a cop on horseback. Some really atrocious things happened, and it was a very big black eye for the police. It was really the last big cannabis rally in the city before the modern movement kind of got started in the 90s.
The first medicinal dispensary was opened in Vancouver. It's been here for over 20 years, this sort of like underground grassroots scene that you don't really see anywhere really in the world. It's kind of a unique vibe here.
The civil disobedience aspect of the cannabis movement in Canada has been our single greatest success. And over the last 25 years or so, starting with bongs and pipes, moving to cannabis rallies and events, to seed sales, to vapor lounges, to dispensaries, is why we're on the verge of legalization in Canada today.
We've worked really hard. People are in jail for it when they shouldn't be, and every day we're getting closer to a more free area.
It'll be nice to have like a regulatory framework to go for. A lot of people working in the industry would like some clarity and know how to take the steps forward.
Also how far we've come as a province, and hopefully seeing where we can help to influence other parts of the world in positive ways in cannabis legalization.
We should offer some thank yous to the cannabis culture over the decades that have kept this plant going and kept the movement going until the time when the rest of Canadians go, oh yeah, actually cannabis is pretty good, and we actually get some good uses out of this plant. Thank you guys for keeping it going all these years while we were trying to shut it down.